Hey, welcome to Tent Talk, the Farmers Market podcast. This is a show all about farmers markets and how to increase your market business success. Whether you're a farmers market manager, a farmer, or a food producer selling at farmers markets, this is the podcast for you. It's back to school time, so we thought we would review the 4 Ps. This is just a little of what we teach in our Farmers Market Vendor 101 course each month, and we're sharing them today with all our Tent Talk listeners. That's you. Because whether you're just getting started with your farmers market, farm, or food vendor business, or you've recently started managing markets, or you've been doing this farmers market job for a while, it's always a good time to brush up. Hi, I'm Bridget Myers. I'm one of your hosts. I'm a longtime market manager here in San Diego, and I do it all from pulling permits to vetting vendors to marking to making sure the porta potties are in the right spot. I'm also one of your farmers market pros and the education coordinator for Intense, the farmers market conference.
And I'm Kat Fields-White, Director of San Diego Markets, still an active market manager, and founder of Farmers Market Pros. I feel like I don't have a lot to do because that list that you ran down, I mean, you do so much.
One of us is busier than the other, is what we're saying. Just kidding.
Oh, really?
You should go back to saying that you schlep barricades because I saw you schlepping barricades.
I was schlepping so many last weekend.
I saw you with my own eyes.
Those big bicycle barricades.
I know, they're so heavy. Ooh, get a little workout.
That's all right.
Well, we're so excited to be back.
We took a week off.
You know, it's just that time. August is nuts.
We weren't really off, but we were off of the microphones.
Yeah. The problem was that we weren't off.
We weren't off. We had a few
busy
vacation people at the markets, and we got busy.
But we're really excited because we're revving up with some awesome new episodes of Tent Talk. We have some great guests that we have booked and some really fun and interesting and educational topics to cover on the podcast.
Yeah, important stuff.
Really important stuff. I really love getting all the feedback from listeners, and I know when we miss an episode, people
we get a lot of email.
Down.
We do.
Where were you?
It's good to know you miss us.
Yes, so we're going to be consistent, and we're really excited to share all that stuff for you.
We've been pretty consistent.
Yeah.
We've been on a year now. And
I know.
We've never not released an episode until this week.
We made it. We made it a year.
Yeah,
I love this podcasting stuff. It's so fun.
It is.
I think it's great. I'm an avid podcast listener, so...
I'm not.
I know.
I listen to the radio sometimes.
You do not. You read. Kat's a reader.
Yeah.
See, I'm an audio person, and I'm in the car a lot with my kids or like cleaning the house, and that's when I listen to my podcasts, and I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're good. I think we are going to work harder this year on transcribing more of the podcast into our blog on our website so that people like me who are readers can still get all the great topics that we cover.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Cool.
Awesome. And then we'll recommend other podcasts. I know some of our friends are doing podcasts now. I was just listening to How I Built This podcast from NPR. That's one of my favorite ones. And I feel like it's really relevant to a lot of the farmers market business because it's all about, they interview company owners that started out small and how they grew their business. So I'm listening to the one on Stacy's pita chips.
And she started at farmers markets.
Yes.
Well, she started with a little cart. Just on a sidewalk, and then she was in farmers markets, and now she rules the world.
I know, Frito-Lay, or Frito-Lay bought
PepsiCo. Well, it's all the same.
Yeah.
It's all processed food is owned by one company, right?
Wrong direction.
But
good for her.
It's good for her.
Good for
her.
her.
Go, Stacy.
Yeah.
And then there's a new podcast, Allie Ball, that was at Intense earlier this year.
We love Allie.
The Farmers Market Conference. Mm-hmm. She's amazing. She's an expert when it comes to consumer packaged goods, but she also had so much good information for our farmers and our farmers market managers at the conference. And she's got a brand new podcast, Food Biz Wiz.
Food Biz Wiz, which is so cute. I love it so much. She's so smart. And I still talk to some of our farmers and vendors that were at the conference this past February that sat in her session. And when I'm on site at our markets, they're like, look, I left a space for my shopper to put their coffee down, like Allie said. And
exactly.
I'm like, yes, that's the whole point of the conference. That's why we get this information out there. I'm so glad she has a podcast. So way to go, Allie. Tune in.
It's exciting.
Tune in.
I might listen to that one.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just blast it in the office. So
okay, that's a good idea.
I learn a lot. I learn a lot there as a farmer's market manager because I can help our vendors.
Right. She just has some really simple tips that made so much sense.
Yeah, agree. All right, well, on to our educational podcast. So today we're going to walk through the 4 Ps, which is something that Kat and I teach a lot. So we're going to walk through that with you, of running a great farm, food vendor, or market manager business.
Yeah, because it takes all the parts.
All the parts.
All the Ps. That's another P. Parts.
Yeah. So we talked about the 4 important parts. So we'll start with number 1, which is product.
Yeah, obviously you've got to have a great product.
Yep.
So you've got to have something that tastes good, that's good consistently, that has the same texture every time. Okay, for farmers that's a little tricky because your tomatoes are going to be a different size, different ripeness, that kind of thing. But you've got to consistently be bringing out things that your folks expect. And sometimes that consistency can be consistently kind of weird. Like I've got a couple of farmers that always bring out really dirty stuff.
Yeah.
And they say, you know what, people should see it how it is. And then we have other farmers that always bring out clean stuff that's been washed. And I think if JR all of a sudden brought out a bunch of dirty stuff, people would say, something's up at the farm.
Yeah.
Whereas if Grandma Sally's has stuff that's got clumps of dirt on it, they're like, it's cool. They're kind of a rustic, small farm, just a couple, nobody else works there. You know, they're keeping up. Their eggs are dirty. They're, they have that protective coating on them.
I have to wash their spring mix. They have like, my favorite spring mix, and usually I'll get it from farmers that pre-wash it, but they don't. But I buy it anyways, and I use my salad spinner because it's so good. Yeah. But they're consistent.
The product has to be good. And, same thing with the bakeries. You've got to have, has to always be your best batch.
Yeah.
So if somebody buys those cookies and falls in love with them, they come back next week to get them, to take them to a party, and this week you've oversalted them.
Yeah.
They're going to be really unhappy, embarrassed in front of their friends. They're never going to buy your stuff again. They're going to mutter about you.
That's right.
So, consistent quality product, that's important.
Absolutely. We always say that. We say that over and over again in our Vendor 101 course. And so, product is important. Number 2 is P is for packaging.
Packaging is important.
Yep.
A little bit for farmers. It would apply to farmers too in some ways. Like you've got the meat guys. We've got Rockin' Our Ranch now, one of our markets, has the cutest little stamp with his Rockin' Our logo on it, and it's on every egg.
I love it.
I mean, when people are home and they're taking that last egg out of the fridge, and they're looking at that egg, they're going, oh, that's who I want to go back to. These were so awesome. They had those yellow yolks. They were cool. Whereas if it's just an egg and there's no imprint on it, sounds kind of silly stamping your eggs, but those folks know who to go back to find those great eggs again.
Yeah, find those little niche things you can do with your product.
Absolutely. But if your packaging is really just a little too subtle and people can't figure out your name and they can't figure out where to find you, number one, they're not going to be attracted to your booth.
Yep.
Because if you've got a big, busy market, that's great. You got a lot of shoppers to play with, but you got to stand out amongst all the other great products.
Absolutely.
You need that good packaging. So you need something that's bright, something that has your logo on it, something when they get to the bottom of the bag of granola, they know who to look for when they want a refill.
Definitely. And something that's going to withstand being shoved in a shopping bag that's slung over someone's shoulder walking through the market.
Absolutely. So it's not just the looks, it's the functionality.
Yeah, function of your packaging. We always talk about our old bone broth guy who had really fantastic bone broth and some other condiment stuff, and he put it in a kind of a plastic snap container. But we had to tell him, I shop at the market, and I say, I don't want to put that little plastic snap container with bone broth in it in my shopping bag because it's going to explode. I'm going to set a bag of pluots on top of it, and it's going to get crushed. So he went to mason jars with a screw-on lid, and it was an amazing upgrade. Perfect upgrade for something that can leak.
Right.
So you just have to think about those little things. Pretend that you're shopping at the market. Would you pick up your product in the package that it's in?
Exactly. Yeah. Knowing that, there's no shopping carts there.
Exactly.
And people are putting things in canvas bags. So that functionality thing is important too. So packaging is so important. And, people eat with their eyes first. So when they go to buy things, part of what's attracting them is what it looks like.
Yep. Exactly. And with your business plan, also with your packaging, what's the cost of your packaging? Is it overpackaged? If you're using like twine and a cupcake paper that's specially designed inside a box that's wrapped in another box that's wrapped in cellophane, do you have $3 of packaging on your $2 cupcake?
Right, exactly.
You have to think about that. So
really important.
Packaging is important.
That's one where the people's eyes get wide at Vendor 101, right?
Yep,
They just don't think about those things, what the cost is going to be. People look at packaging and say, oh, that costs a nickel. That's not important. No, it doesn't. And all those dimes and quarters and dollars add up. You've really got to take that into account when you figure out whether or not your beautiful product can be profitable.
Absolutely. Think about the weight. Think about the shipping of your containers. Are you buying a lot at once so it's a smaller cost? So many thoughts need to be put into packaging. And I think, and I've seen it before, that people, vendors, farmers, whoever, think of packaging as a kind of an afterthought.
Right.
They're thinking of their amazing sauce or their baked good or their beautiful strawberries, and they don't think about that packaging part, and it can really kind of make or break you. So you've got to think about the packaging.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, really important.
That's an important P. What's number 3?
Professionalism.
Aha.
And this is, about operating in the market. So Are you posting pictures of your market booth on your pretty Instagram? If it's all about your farm or it's all about your close-ups of your cookies, are you making people register the fact that they can find you at this farmer's market on this day?
Yep.
I mean, it's great to know that your stuff is pretty, there's another P, but they got to be able to find it.
Yep.
So being professional. When you fill out a farmer's market application, are you filling in all the blanks?
Yep.
Or does the farmer's market manager have to wonder when they look at that half filled out application if you're going to show up with half of your display if they let you into their market?
Are you going to call into half the market?
That's right. So you got to
out.
show them that you have an attention to detail, that you're a professional person. Do you understand that you've got to have insurance and permits? And a lot of people don't know that when they first start out, especially when they first start out at Vendor 101. But those are things you have to learn. You got to take this seriously like a business.
Exactly.
You have to count up all your costs to make sure you're taking the big P, which is profit. So you've got to look at that. And when you're operating at the markets, you got to show up on time. Be a professional. You can't just wander in. Show up, period.
Yep.
You can't take every third week off because you just didn't feel like getting up early or you're out a little bit too late last night and you don't feel like doing that bright and early market. Because your shoppers, if you're building a good business, are going to count on you being there. And your fellow vendors are going to count on having that space right next to theirs filled so that people, psychologically, they keep walking down a full aisle, not a spotty aisle. So that professional attitude makes all the difference in whether or not you're going to be profitable at the farmer's market.
Exactly. Is your behavior professional? Are you argumentative with your market manager? Are you standoffish with your fellow vendors? Are you friendly with the shoppers that are there? You need to maintain that professional attitude. We're not at a garage sale. This isn't a little bake sale. These are people's livelihoods. This is how we all make our living. We need to act professionally. It's so fun to work at a farmer's market, and I find it much more appealing to me and fun to work outside, to get to work around fresh food, and we all have a good time. I would never work in an office cubicle. I don't want to be on that side of professional, but we still have to maintain that this is an actual business.
Right.
We're all here to make a living. We're all here to help our shoppers get their weekly groceries. Like, that's important to them. We're providing a service, so we all need to act professional.
Everybody's short on time. If they're taking their time to invest a little bit more walking and not being able to park and having to do a transaction at every single tent, they're investing all that time. Let's have a professional attitude. Let's be in the tent to take the money so they're not frustrated, tapping their feet, wondering when you're going to come back to your booth.
Yeah, the most unprofessional thing is when you have your friends in your booth and you're chatting and you're not paying attention to shoppers, or you're at your friend's booth down the aisle and so shoppers are standing at your booth trying to buy your product and you're not there. That is extremely unprofessional.
Absolutely.
This isn't a game. This isn't a test. People are there to shop. You're there to be a part of a greater business. So be in your booth.
Absolutely.
Make the sales.
Yeah,
be professional.
Professionalism is important.
Your business reflects on the market as a whole.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's why we get, we'll have people every once in a while that say, oh, well, I missed a market. That's just on me. That's not, affecting anybody else. Well, no, actually it is. It's affecting everybody around you. It's because if the shopper is frustrated that they drove all the way across town to get to the market to buy your product and you don't bother to show up, they're frustrated. And in their mind, farmers markets aren't a reliable place to shop. And so their attitude reflects on the whole market, not just you.
Exactly. Yeah, and they say, oh, I'll pay the fee. What's the problem? And as
It's
market
not about
managers,
that.
we always say it's not about the fee. Like, of course, we need to collect our fees. That's how our business operates. But it's not about that. We don't want you to miss a market because it disrupts the system we have going here.
Right.
Disrupts the professionality of
The
the
trust
market.
that we're building with shoppers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, number 4, fourth P.
It's important. It's not important if you're packing your stuff into cardboard boxes and sending them off to Whole Foods. It's not that important if you're selling online, although, a little of that coming through the website might help. But personality, that fourth P, is really key at a farmer's market. So, if you're that kind of person that goes to a party and you kind of like the buzz around you, but you're not really comfortable talking to people that you don't know, and so you're going to find a book on the shelf and slink into the chair that's closest to the corner and just kind of hide out and watch what's going on. All good. We're introvert friendly here.
Yeah.
But you need to get a niece or nephew or a partner or a great employee to work at the market because that's not going to fly in a situation where you're selling direct to the shoppers.
Exactly.
You've got to have that personality. You have to be a friendly person that likes to stand up, leave that chair at home, stand up, meet people where they are, make eye contact, comment on your shoppers. Oh, it's a nice sweater. That color's pretty on you.
Yep.
Oh, you've got the radishes from Joe's farm down the road. That's cool. What are you going to do with those? Even before they buy, if you make that human connection, if you've got a personality that enjoys talking to people, that's a bubbly person, that's generally speaking happy, you're going to do so much better at farmers markets.
Yeah, and it's a key point that I think people are like, all right, I made this product, I have a booth at the market, that's it.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
And they stand there silently or glaring or reading a book in the back of their, or more typically on their phone in the back of their booth,
right.
And then they wonder why the market was, quote, slow. Well, the market wasn't slow. Maybe your booth was slow because you weren't looking up,
right.
And you weren't engaging people.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got to actually kind of like people to be successful at the farmer's market.
Yep.
You can be really passionate about your pickles, but if you're not somebody that enjoys being around other people, you need to think about wholesaling or about hiring somebody else to work in your booth, because personality is definitely part of it at a farmer's market.
Such a big part.
That's why people shop there.
Yeah.
You know, if they just wanted to buy pickles, they could probably get them at as good a price. They could get them in a place where it's easier to park. They could go in and out of an air-conditioned store at a grocery store. Yeah. But they come to the farmer's market because they want to know people, because they want to maintain those human relationships, and they want to know who's making their food.
Exactly.
Personality's got to come through.
Exactly. You just said so many P's.
I know.
Pricing,
pricing,
parking. People. We're going to this is going to
there's a lot of P's in farmers markets.
The 15 P's. This list is going to grow. Stay tuned for part 2 of our P section. But it really makes a huge difference. And I know we've talked about this on other episodes as well about Justine, our podcast producer and former co-host, her business, Baby Clydesdale, and her husband. I swear, if you're anywhere near San Diego, come out to a market where Baby Clydesdale sells, because his personality is so fun. He's a magnet. And he doesn't say, hey, come over here and buy some hot sauce. He goes, hey, man, I used to wear those shoes in the 90s, or like some kind of, funny comment that makes you want to come over and talk to him, or like, you look like you like pesto, just something that's funny and just like a little dry sense of humor, and it just reels you right in. And then he makes those sales because he likes people and he can chat with anybody. He can chat with anyone. He can chat with an 80-year-old woman who's shopping there for 3 things. He can talk to the 20-year-old millennials. He can talk to moms with small kids. I mean,
he can never stop talking to somebody that actually plays a guitar.
Exactly. If you're in a band, we better go
you're
stop
gonna be there
talking
for
to
a
him.
while. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just those little things. You don't have to,
and all that sells hot sauce.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Down to the bottom line, whereas you're there to sell your product, being professional, you're there to operate your business and to continue your business. And your business is not going to continue if you don't have that personality.
Yeah, it's just not at the farmer's market. You're going to need to go another route.
Exactly.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Because the 5th P that we didn't mention here is we're really all in this to make a profit.
Exactly.
Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what the 4 P's add up to. Is
passion meets profit. Oh
passion meets profit. There's another couple of P's. I'd say this is a priceless episode.
I love it.
All right. So that's just a little bit of what we teach in Vendor 101.
Yeah.
Yeah, little snippet there. There's so much more.
Exactly. Speaking of Vendor 101, so we've had so many inquiries lately about Farmers Market Vendor 101, which is a monthly workshop course that Kat and I have been teaching for...
Since 2010.
Yeah, so almost 10 years now. It's very popular and very helpful, and I love the feedback we get on that class, and I love seeing these businesses take off and grow. People who want to take the class but aren't here in San Diego, and market managers who want to give their own perspective, vendors a better chance of success. We're launching our Vendor 101 program for everyone, for the world.
Everyone. Well, farmers market managers that want to give their prospective vendors a better chance of success, because we do see people that take the class launching more successfully. But actually, also, to be honest about it, farmers market managers that want to take a little bit of load off in terms of screening prospective vendors, because that's really why we started that class originally. Yeah. I mean, we've kept it going for a lot of reasons, but you get all those calls and emails from people that say, I want to be in a farmer's market. How does that work? And so you can spend, that adds up to a ton of time for market managers and their staffs if they've got to start from scratch with everybody that calls. So the Vendor 101 thing was a way to get everybody into a room that was interested, let them share each other's questions, explain a really good, strong overview. We spend 5 hours, in that classroom of how markets work and what kind of permits are required and some of the basics of forming a business and how much money are you going to need to get started. And then once they've got that good basis, that good background level of what it's going to take, then you can answer specific questions, but you're dealing at that point with people that are actually well-informed enough to know that they can make a strong decision about whether they want to move forward.
Exactly. And sometimes it has, one of two great outcomes, which is where they come away with this strong base and they can move forward and go get their permits and go apply at markets and be successful in markets. Or they take the course and realize this is a little more involved than I thought. And
way more complicated.
Way more complicated.
A little more expensive.
Yeah. The common folks out there, they don't know what it takes to do a farmer's market business.
Right.
They might think they know. They might just be interested, but they don't really know how involved it is. It's a real business. And so they might take the course and think, you know what, maybe this is not for me right now. I'm going to take it a different route, or I'll circle back to this later. And we still find that to be a positive outcome.
That's a good outcome.
It's a good outcome.
And we've heard that from our students for the last almost 10 years, that, I'm really glad I just spent 5 hours and a little bit of money, as opposed to taking all my savings and investing it and beating my head against the wall for 2 years to figure out that this is not for me.
Absolutely.
So it's a good way, either direction that it goes.
Yeah. We're also taking Farmers Market Vendor 101 on the road. We're scheduling right now, been scheduling, to take the class to market managers in other cities. So we come to you, we get you up to speed on the course materials and set you up to offer the class yourself in your area.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So that'll be good for farmers market vendors because, again, that cuts their workload. So they can refer them to the online class, which is actually going to be a fair bit more detailed than our in-person class, just because we find that at the end of that 5-hour day, we give them a lunch break, but even so, they're with us for a solid 5 hours. About hour 4, people start looking real dazed and confused, a little overwhelmed, and you have less questions at the end, and it's not because they don't have questions, it's because they just are soaked in so much stuff. So we're able to go into a little bit more detail in the online class, because you can kind of do it at your own pace. You can spend a week or two taking in all that information, or, spread it out over a number of weeks. But so we've got some more worksheets in there and a little bit more detail on individual areas. You get more detail when you come to Intense, the Farmers Market Conference.
Absolutely.
But this way, even before you start, there's stuff that we just can't cover in 5 hours because we know people can't absorb more than that in one day. So this will let farmers market managers talk to people that contact them and say, hey, you should jump online and take this course, or say, hey, I'm going to have a course the end of next month. Here's the date, here's the time, sign up, come on out. And then you can spend time with your prospective vendors yourself, you market managers, and give them a good start.
Absolutely. And I feel like it makes me a better market manager teaching this class every week too.
That's true.
Just going over the information, hearing questions from prospective vendors, things I don't even think that people are wondering.
Yeah, it's
it
like,
reminds me.
You don't know that.
Yeah.
Because we're so used to doing it, we forget what people don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Those questions really trigger stuff that we use even with other vendors.
Exactly. And I can help our current vendors with a lot of their issues that they go through as their business builds, just by teaching this course and just really going over this information once a month when I'm teaching a live class. And so having that online base too to reference would be, it's just really great reference all around. People are so grateful for it. And people that take our class, they don't necessarily always come into our markets. They go to other markets in San Diego County, so we go over the permits there. But it's just really gets them off on the right foot.
It is.
And I feel good as a market manager, I'm sending you off, you're a little bird. Here, you can go fly now.
I like those months where the people applaud at the end of the class.
Oh, I love it. We get an applause. People hug us. I love it.
That's it. It's cool. Yeah.
People, they really, even at the lunch break, we'll say, yeah, go eat. And they'll come up to us and say, I can't believe you have had this class the whole time. I've been thinking about this for a year. This is information I never would have found anywhere else. I'm so grateful for you. This class has already paid for itself in the first hour. When it's a 5-hour class. So, it's really valuable. It's really valuable.
It's gratifying to teach.
Exactly. This is a niche market, so it's really but it's really, we have this information, sharing it is important. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So February is another whole semester away in our back to school themed podcast today in terms of farmers market learning. But the way this year has flown by, it's going to keep flying, and it's going to be February before we know it. Yeah. So we're already seeing folks take advantage of the super early bird tickets and registering now for Intense, the Farmers Market Conference that's coming up in February. We can't wait to see all of them there.
I know.
And all of you.
Yeah. I'm so excited every time I say, we're going to get that group here. We're going to get this group
Yeah,
here.
because a lot of it's folks that have been already. We've got some new people, but so far, just because it's so early, we're seeing a lot of people sign up that were here last year. So it's going to be fun to have the gang back together.
Gang's all here, and people that wanted to come last year and just couldn't for whatever scheduling conflicts. And we talked to them a lot last year, and they've been listening to the podcast and kind of following us, and now they can come and they got their tickets.
I feel like I know them.
Yeah, and that super early bird is such a good deal.
It is. Okay, that's like a really killer price, and we still have 21 tickets that we have budgeted to sell at that price. So we're going to extend early bird. It was supposed to end this week, but we're going to extend that opportunity for 2 more weeks.
Oh, nice. Okay, so when is that going till?
So until August 31st, or until those 21 seats are gone.
Yeah.
You can still sign up for a full 3-day all-access pass for just $195.
Oh, that's a really good deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big savings over the $355 regular price. I mean, I think $355 is a decent deal for 3 days worth of
Definitely.
crazy good content, but still, $195 is a killer deal. Yeah. And if you have a team, we have the Three's Company Pass, and it's also at the super early bird price right now. So you pretty much get the conference for that big savings, plus Three's Company is a deal where you pretty much pay for 2 and get 1 free.
Yeah.
So if you have a group of 3 on your team and you want to come, I mean, that is just a heck of a deal. For a little bit more than 1 ticket, really, you're bringing 3 people to the conference. So you want to jump on that. It only goes until the end of this month. So August 31st, be sure you jump on it. Talk to your people about whether you got a budget, or if your people is just you, as I know is the case at many farmers markets. Talk to yourself and say, wouldn't this be fun to be in San Diego in February? Yeah. We know you Canadians are listening.
I know. We love all the people that are coming in there like Bermuda shirts and shorts and flip-flops.
We're freezing in February because it's, 72. And all those folks from Minneapolis and back east are pretty darn excited to be in San Diego.
They love it. They love it. I feel like we got a lot of Three's Company last year.
We did. We did get a lot of Three's Company.
Yeah.
It was nice to come as a group, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was so fun. But if you're solo, if you're rolling solo in your business, come join us. Or ask your fellow vendors, hey, let's go do this together. Even if you're not in business together, you are technically in the business together.
We saw some farmers from different farms kind of come, not as an organized group, but just as they just sat together all the time, and then they'd talk to farmers from other areas, but they were kind of buds.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. So I'm so excited about the conference this year. Let's talk about speakers.
Nope.
Oh!
Can't do that.
Come on!
Nope. Nope. We've got some really cool people lined up. We're still kind of organizing logistics and stuff on that. But we want to talk about it all together. We're going to do kind of a big announcement. So stay tuned here and watch the newsletter. If you're not on our email newsletter list, sign up for that because you don't want to miss stuff that comes out there.
Definitely.
And we'll have some exciting news end of this month, beginning of September.
I guess I'll just have to wait.
You'll just have to wait.
Kat's not even telling me.
No. Some of it's a big secret.
I'm so excited, though. I always see people, I'm even in the industry, and then Kat gets these speakers. I'm like, oh, who is this person?
Yeah.
So excited.
See, sometimes reading pays off.
There you go. Can't get speakers from listening to podcasts.
Well, you can.
Maybe you can.
You can. We found some good speakers through their podcasts, but
you're a speaker at a lot of places. People
that's true.
Probably hear this podcast and think,
true.
oh, Kat should come speak at our conference. So that works. Everyone's different, but I'm so excited.
Oh, it's going to be so good. Such a good group.
Excellent.
I wish it could be 6 days.
I know. We don't have time for that.
No, we don't have time for that. But yeah, I wish we'd. You know what? The other thing we might do though next year is do a couple of little mini conferences in other cities. Yeah, we've talked about 1 day, 1.5 day things in some other areas, maybe later in the year next year.
We have some places scoped out. In some other areas of the country. So excited. Yeah. And we're going to get on that retreat one day.
That's right.
Farmers Market Industry Folk Retreat.
Yeah.
Let's do it because we
tents.
need it. I don't know when we take
Because I like
a day
those
off.
retreats with tents. Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know how we manage that, but still, it'll be fun.
We'll do some worksheets while we're there,
field.
so we can call it work.
That's right.
I'll do some yoga. It'd be great. Awesome. All right. Well, like we said, we have some really great new episodes coming. We always love your feedback. I know we've talked about a lot of issues and topics on our podcast simply because we get an email saying, can you discuss this? Like, can we talk about this? I'm talking about this at my market or with my vendors or with my market manager or at my farm. So can you bring this topic up? So always, always, always connect with us. FarmersMarketPros.com. There's a connect button there. You can direct messages on Instagram at FarmersMarketPros. So many ways to reach us and just let us know what's going on at your market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We love it.
What do you want us to talk about? For today, thanks so much for listening to Tent Talk. Please leave us a review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you access your podcasts and tell us how you're enjoying Tent Talk. I kind of always hate like hawking for reviews, but the more you review, the more other people can find us on there.
Right.
So, it's helpful. I do it as a listener of other podcasts that I listen to too, and I know it's kind of like a chore, but it really helps. So
it does.
There you go. That's the biz.
So they tell me.
Well, we are popping up a lot, and we're getting a lot of new listeners, and I think it's just because we're getting like circulated out there more, which is great, and I think the reviews really help. And also subscribing. I just switched phones, and I learned that I started listening to my podcast, and I go, where are the rest of them? And I hadn't subscribed on my new podcast app. So I just did that the other day and was like, I have a backlog. So subscribing helps because if you're busy, like we are, it reminds you there's a new episode.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
See, I don't have to subscribe to books.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. All right. Well, listen to me for all your podcast advice.
That's right.
I
listen to Bridget. She's got it down.
I swear Cat likes podcast.
I do.
So review,
like
subscribe, follow us. If you want more farmers markets tips, tricks, and information, you should certainly subscribe to our weekly newsletter at farmersmarketpros.com. Cat does a really good job. Cat does manage that, and it get some really good information out there, links to other stories, and follow us on Instagram at Farmers Market Pros. We love being on there with you guys and seeing what you're up to. The 4th annual Intense the Farmers Market Conference is coming up on February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 2020, here in San Diego, California. Beautiful San Diego in February. So you can register right now, like we said, at farmersmarketpros.com. And don't forget, super early bird pricing has been extended to August 31st. So jump on that right now. Such a deal. Don't miss it. This podcast is produced by Farmers Market Pros, where passion meets profit. Today's episode was recorded by Adam Samaha and edited by Justine Marzoni Mead. Original music by David Mead. Thanks so much for listening.
Thanks.